I think I have mentioned it in the email that we are going to discuss about Chaitasika today, right? Chaitasika is the second chapter in the Abhidhamma Sangaha. But we are not going to go through the entire chapter, like the previous chapter that we have gone through, because it will take longer time. I hope to complete the discussion on Chaitasika within today itself. Okay, so we will be just looking at the main text, Abhidhamma Sangaha, without going too much into the detailed explanation. For the detailed explanation, you can, of course, look at this book, Abhidhamma Sangaha, always. And as I have been telling, that for a better understanding on the topic, you can always look at Professor Karnathasa's text as well, right? So before starting to discuss about Chaitasika, do you have any question or remark on the course or on any topic related to the course? Can you all see my computer screen? Okay, no problem. Yeah. Those of you who can turn on the video, you can turn on the video. That would be good.
But the laptop camera is very amazing. So dark in my laptop, even I can see myself.
Let us begin our discussion on Chaitasika. If you do not have any question or remark on the previous discussions, yeah. So Chitta and Chaitasika. So these two are among the four Paramattha Dhammas, right? So we have completed our discussion on 89 types of Chitta. Sometimes they are counted as 121. So as I said, I will try to complete our discussion on Chaitasika within 2 days. So I'm just focusing on this main text. We will go through the text. Here I have, collected the Pali text and the translation together so that it is easier to, look at and understand. Okay, so there are basically 52 mental factors. So Chaitasika is translated in English as mental factors or sometimes mental concomitants, right? So the characteristics of Chaitasikas are that these mental factors, these Chaitasikas, arise together with the Chitta. So there are 89 types of Chittas. In different Chitta, when each of these different Chitta arise in the Jnana Santati, in the stream of consciousness. This Chitta always arises together with Cetasikas, right? But in the discussion of Abhidhamma, we find that they clearly, provide exposition with regard to, for example, how many Cetasikas accompany a particular Chitta, right? So there are different types of Chitta. Some are Kusala, some are Akusala, right? Some are Paramatta Chitta, some are Jhanik Chitta. So depending on different types of Chitta, the Cetasikas that arise are also different, right? So there are a certain number of Cetasikas arise together with Chitta. So here it is very clear if you look at this, beginning verse where it says that we can actually read it together. Ekupada nirodhacha ekalambana vattuka chetuyutta dvipanyasa dhamma chetasika mata. So what it says is that there are altogether 52 mental states or 52 cetasikas that are associated with consciousness, as we have been discussing, right? So they are not without the consciousness. So without the Chitta, their arising or ceasing is not seen. Yeah, so they arise and perish together with consciousness, and they have the same object and basis as consciousness. They are known as mental states. So here, what is mentioned specifically is that Ekupada, they arise together with Chitta, and Ekanirodha, they cease together with the Chitta. Ekalambana, they have the same object. Ekavattuka, same basis. Okay, so you cannot really separate. You can have just a kind of a mental analysis only. So here it is made very clear that which is associated with the mind or consciousness is Cetasika. So Cetasika is that which arises together with consciousness, that which perishes together with it, that which has an identical object with it, and that which has a common basis with it, right? Now, these 52 mental factors are broadly categorized into 4 types, 4 categories. Okay, so this we have to know. First of all, we have to know that there are 52 mental states, 52 types of Cetasikas, and the characteristics of these Cetasikas is that they arise and cease together with the consciousness. Their basis and their object also the same as consciousness, right? And now here we see that they are categorized into 4 types. The first 7 are called Sabbachitta Sadharana Cetasika. They are called common to all types of consciousness. They are universal Cetasika. It means that they arise, these 7 Cetasikas, they arise in all types of consciousness. They are present in all types of consciousness, all 89 types of consciousness. Okay. The second category is called 6 occasionals, Pakinnaka. So ethically variable or miscellaneous mental factors. They are found only in particular types of consciousness, not in all. Actually, they are also in a way, how do you say, they can be regarded to belong to even this category to the extent that they also arise in most of the Chittas, but are not in all the Chittas, right? So there are some Chittas where they are not present, but compared to this Sabbhacitta Sadharana Chetasika, this Pakinnaka also actually arise in most of the Chittas. Now, one of the characteristics of these two types of Chittas are that, for example, if you look at the following two types, one is termed as Akusala, the other is termed as Sobana, right? So Akusala refers to unwholesome, Sobana, beautiful, and this is very clear that the Chetasikas belonging to this category should arise only in the Akusala consciousness. So this is very clear. And Sobana Chetasikas, so the Chetasikas categorized into this category Sobana, they should arise with the Chittas that are beautiful, right? But in the case of these two types of Chetasikas, they arise, in the Kusala or Sobana Chittas as well as in the Akusala Chittas, right? So they themselves do not have the quality of being ethically good or bad, but when they arise together with other Chetasikas in a Kusala Chitta or Akusala Chitta, they take the form of Kusala and Akusala. So that is their function. Okay, we will come to them later on when we look at the detailed exposition. So yeah, so this third category is called unwholesome mental factors. There are 14 in number, and the last category has 25 beautiful mental factors. So if you count 7 plus 6 plus 14 plus 25, altogether 52. But what are these 52 Chetasikas? So far we know the number, and now let us know their names at least. Okay, and also it is important if you have time to know about each specific Chetasikas in detail. What do they exactly mean? What are their functions? Okay, what are their characteristics? But that will come later. So 54 mental factors in 4 groups. Ayasamana Chetasika, that is referring to the first two types, 7 universal and 6 Pakinnaka. Katang, how? In this way, Hasso Vedana Sanya Chetana Ekagata Jivitendriyang Manasikaro Cheti Satime Chetasika Sabbhacitta Sadharana Nama. So here you have 7. They are called Phassa is one, that is contact, Vedana feeling, Sanya perception, Chetana, Ekagata, Jivitendriya, and Manasikara. Right? So contact, feeling, perception, volition, one-pointedness, psychic life faculty, that is Jivitendriya, and attention. So Manasikara is translated as attention. Yes. So these are 7. Now in the second category, Vitakko, Vicharo, Adimukko, Viriyang, Piti, Chando, Chati, Cha ime Chetasika Pakinnaka Nama. In the category of Pakinnaka, you have these 6 mental factors. Vitakka, that is initial application. Vichara, that is sustained application. Adimukha, decision. Viriya, effort. Piti, joy. Chanda, phonation. So this is a kind of desire. Eva mete terasa chetasika ayasamanati veditamba. So these are called ethically variable factors. So these two are regarded as Anya samana chetasika, ethically variable mental factors. In the second category, you have 14 mental factors, and these are the 14. Moho, ahirikang, anuttappang, uddachang, lobo, ditti, mano, doso, issa, machariyang, ukuchang, thinang, middang, vichikicha cheti, Juddasa ime chetasika akusala nama. Moho is translated as delusion. Ahirika, shamelessness, no shame. So this is here referring to moral shame. Okay. Anuttappa, fearlessness of consequences or to commit wrong. So this is regarded as moral fear, moral shame and moral dread. Uddachang, that is restlessness. Lobo is translated as attachment here. Ditti is wrong view clearly, here translated as misbelief. Mano, conceit. Doso, hatred. Issa, jealousy. Macharyam, avarice. Ukucham, worry. Thinam, sloth. Middam, torpor. And Vichikicha as doubt. So these are 14 mental states. Belong to this akusala category. And now you have 25 sobana chetasika, beautiful mental factors, and they are again categorized into 4 categories. So these are the first 19. Saddha sati hiri uttappang alobo adoso tatramajjatata kaya passaddi chitta passaddi kaya lahuta chitta lahuta kaya muduta chitta muduta kaya kamanyata chitta kamanyata kaya pagunyata chitta pagunyata kayo jukata chitto jukata cheti ekuna visati me chetasika sobana sadharana nama. So they are regarded as sobana sadharana. The sobana sadharana chetasika means common to beautiful. So these are the mental factors. They are common to all kinds of beautiful chittas. Saddha is translated as confidence. Sati, mindfulness. Hiri, moral shame. Ottappa, moral dread. So these are exactly opposite to shamelessness and fearlessness. Okay, so one is positive, one is negative. Alobo as non-attachment, adoso, goodwill, tatra majjatata, equanimity, kaya passaddi, tranquility of mental states, chitta passaddi, tranquility of mind. Now, here you would find that even though the term kaya is used here, kaya passaddi, it is not referring to body, and it should be clear, because here the discussion is on chetasika, mental factors, right? So nothing related to body or form. So these are probably referring to, how do you say, different layers of tranquility in the mind. Okay, different layers. It is like, I can just give you this reference. When there is a discussion, in the discussion of this Sanya Vedaita Nirodha Samaphati, that is normally that comes after these 8 types of jhanas, Rupa jhanas and Arupa jhanas. The 9th one is the Sanya Vedaita Nirodha Samaphati. So in the explanation of this, we find that this is described as the state of cessation, where you do not have Sanya and Vedana working. So Sanya refers to perception, Vedana refers to feelings, right? And in the discussion of this state, you find that Kaya Sankara, Vachi Sankara, Mano Sankara are completely ceased. Now, what does it mean by Kaya Sankara in this respect? Is your breath, okay? Breathing in, breathing out. So our breath, it says that in this state of meditation is so subtle that it cannot be really felt. And therefore, we find, for example, stories like some monks attaining this Samaphati, in the forest. And when such a monk was seen by some cowboys, when they were taking their cows, they saw that a monk is sitting like a dead person. He is not breathing. So they thought that this monk is dead. They wanted to, do the cremation, because the breath is not felt anymore. Breath cannot be felt. So that is regarded as Kaya Sankara. You see, in a similar way, in the discussion of Chaitasika, when it says Kaya Pasadi, Chitta Pasadi, so focus is of course on tranquility of mental states and mind. This is so different layers of mind. Similarly, Kaya Lahuta, Chitta Lahuta, lightness of mental states, lightness of mind. Kaya Muduta, Chitta Muduta, pliancy of mental states and pliancy of mind. Kaya Kammayata, Chitta Kammayata, adaptability of mental states, adaptability of mind. Kaya Pagunyata, Chitta Pagunyata. Proficiency. No, I think I missed one. Yeah, proficiency of mental states and proficiency of mind. And then Kayo Jukata, Chitto Jukata. Rectitude of mental states and rectitude of mind. These are 19 types of Sobana Sadharana Chetasika. So in the second category, we find there are three, they are called virati, abstinences. Samma vacha, samma kammanto, samma aje. These are termed as abstinences. Tisso viratiyo nama. So abstinence normally means you avoid doing something. So what do you avoid when you practice right speech? You avoid wrong speech, right? You avoid telling lie. You avoid other kinds of bad speech. How they are termed? Musavada, yes, and Parusavacha, Sampapalapa. What is the other one? So these are the things that you avoid. Right action, that is Samma Kammanta. When you practice right action, you do not do wrong action. You abstain from doing wrong action by body, speech, and mind. Right livelihood, Samma Jiva, refers to avoiding its opposite, wrong livelihood, right? What is your understanding of wrong livelihood? Now, this should be understood in the context of a practitioner, someone who is willing to progress in the spiritual journey. Kenapa Indaka? So normally when you talk about right livelihood, for example, in the suttas, in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, for example, this appears in the list of Noble Eightfold Path. A very general, explanation that is attached to right livelihood is that you avoid 5 types of, business, right? But when you focus on the, step-by-step training or gradual training of an ascetic, for example, if you look at the Samayapala Sutta and so on, you would find that a right livelihood for a practitioner is defined in terms of how you are collecting your pachayas, right? And then how you are making use of them, what kind of mentality you are having, what is your focus, right? For example, when we take food before having meal, we recite this chanting normally, right? Patisankha yoniso pindapatam. So if you look at it, what it says is that it clearly, it is a kind of a reflection, self-reflection. Why you are taking this food? So that you have sufficient energy to work on your spiritual practice, right? Similarly, with regard to other purchases, ways of earning them, as I have been saying in Samayapala Sutta and some other similar suttas, you would find that even in the Visuddhimagga, of course, you have great details with regard to all these factors that one has to be really very careful with regard to earning one's livelihood as a renunciant. As a renunciant, you cannot tell lie. You just take whatever is needed, right? And so all kinds of explanations are found. You can look at Visuddhimagga and also the Samayapala Sutta for this. So these 3 are regarded as virati. And then next 2, they are called appamanya. These 2 are karuna and mudita. Karuna mudita appamanyayo namati. Sabbatapi panyendriyena sadding panchavesati me chetasika sobhanadvedava. Panyendriya is counted separately. The faculty of wisdom. So you have compassion, appreciative or sympathetic joy, that are called limitless, and then faculty of wisdom. So including these 3, you have 25 mental states belonging to this category. They are called beautiful. Thus you have terasa yasamanacha chuttasa kusala tatha sobana panchavesati vipanyasa pavachare. Altogether 52. Right? So now you come to know their names, right? But how do they arise together with Chitta? Did you try to look at the chart and the description and try to find out how many Chaitasikas arise together with each different Chittas?
Yes, teacher, I did look at it, but I can't say I remember it all.
Yeah. Of course, I mean, this is just for the familiarity, so that something about the functioning of Chaitasikas and so on. It is not easy to remember all of this. we will look at this aspect now. So now there are two ways of looking at this. One is how many Chaitasikas arise in a particular chitta. The other is the other way around. How many
So, teacher, ideally, there should be 8 at least study. Now, because we already have like 7 chittas, universal 7 chittas plus mind.
sorry?
I think ideally we have already 8 factors in our movement of mind. I mean, consciousness plus 7 mental factors. I mean. This is, I mean, the basic of a movement of mind or consciousness.
No. You have, I mean, in the discussion of chitta, you have 89 types of chitta, right? Because
Yeah.
there are some belonging to Kamavachara, some belong to Rupavachara, Arupavachara, and then you have Paramattha chittas, right? And 52 Chaitasikas. So two ways you have to look at this, combination. One is how many Chaitasikas are present in one particular chitta. The number varies. In a particular chitta, sometimes you have, probably 30 Chaitasikas appearing in one mind moment. In other cases, probably, just 20 or just 12, right? And the other way is in one chitta, how many Chaitasikas are present and what are those? For example, yeah, so one thing you can do is that by looking at these 2 chapters and looking at the combination as well, even if you just look at the categorization of chitta alone, the factors that are mentioned to identify a particular chitta, when it says somanasa sahagata. Now we are familiar with the popular categorization in terms of Kamavachara chitta, Rupavachara chitta, in terms of kusala, akusala, vipaka, and kiriya, right? So these are, basic classification that we can find. But what you can do is that you can try to understand how many of these 89 chittas can be regarded as somanasa. So the category of somanasa alone, the category of upekha, right? The category of, dittigata sampayutta, the category of dittigata vipayutta, the category of, prompted and unprompted. What are the terms? Asankarika and asankarika, right? So when you try to list down, of course, in the book, actually, you have all this listing from different, perspective to give a clear understanding of, the clear understanding with regard to chittas and chaitasikas. But I think if you yourself try to do that when you have time, then you'll be more familiar with these different types of chittas. Okay. And for example, there are some chittas that are directly associated with indriyas, but there are some that are not, right? And then other factors, for example, piti, sukha, ekagata, vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekagata, right? So you can make a list of how many chittas having piti alone, right? Or vitakka or vichara. Okay, so it is just to for having a better familiarity with these different types of chittas. You can just do a kind of, how do you say, experiment by yourself in how many different ways you can categorize them. And this is what actually you would find in the text, right? So if you do it by yourself and then you take support of the text as well, you look at the explanation in the text, then you'll be more familiar with the description there. Otherwise, it would appear to be confusing. Yes. Okay, now we will look at the combinations. Okay, so as I said, one is to know the general characteristics of Chaitasika. The other is what are those Chaitasikas, what are those 52 in different categories. And the other is combinations from two ways, right? And then what exactly, each of the 52 mental factors, are about. So you go deep into each of the mental factor. So that comes later. If we have enough time, we will read some of the mental factors together. Okay, we'll try to discuss some of the mental factors together, but I'm not sure if we will be able to complete the reading of all these mental factors. So it is your duty to go through the text, and especially if somebody is writing on any particular section, they can then focus, have a in-depth, focus on that section. Okay, now let's look at the combinations. We'll have to probably be a bit attentive, more attentive to this association or combinations of mental factors. Sampayoga 9. Let's look at this general remark here. Let's read it together. Tesang chitta vyuttanam, tesang chitta vyuttanam, yatha yogamito parang, chittupadesu pachekam, sampayogo pavuchati, satta sabbatta yujjanti, yatha yogam pakinnaka, chuddasa kusale sweva, sobana sweva, sobana. The combination of each of these thought adjuncts in different types of consciousness will hereafter be dealt with accordingly. 7 are linked with every type of consciousness. Satta, sabbata, yujjanti. 7. Now, it is better if you have the list of Chaitasikas with you and the list of Chittas. And even if it is possible, if you have these two charts on combination, is also better. Okay, so these 4 things. One is the list of Chittas, one is the list of Chaitasikas, and this 2 chart on combinations. The 6 particulars are linked accordingly. Yatha yogam pakinnaka. Even though these 6 are put together with this previous 7 in terms of Sabbachitta Sadharana, they do not always appear in every chitta. So only in, you know, in some chittas, in some other chittas, they are not present. The 14 are linked only with the immorals. Chuddasa kusale sweva. There are 14 that are associated only with immorals. So there are how many akusala chittas?
12.
12. Yes. So these are associated with this 12 akusala chittas. And then the 19 beautiful only with beautiful. Sobana sweva sobana. So now here this is the discussion of Sabba Chitta Sadharana. Now here combination of mental factors with chittas. Okay, so the focus is on the mental factors, chaitasikas. Sabba Chitta Sadharana Tava Sattime Chaitasika Sabbesupi Ekuna Vuti Chittupadesu Labanti. In the first place, the 7 mental states common to every consciousness are found in all the 89 types of consciousness. So these are present in all 89 types of consciousness. Universals, right? Sabbhachitta Sadharana, 7, right? All chittas. That can be 89 or 121. But I have provided you another chart. This one. Did you look at this chart? So these are the 7 universals, and you'd see that they are present in all the chittas. 89. So when you go through this text and this chart together, then it becomes, more clear. What about Pakinnaka? So there are 6 Pakinnaka. Pakinnakesu pana vitakko tava dvipancha vinyanam vajjita Kamavachara chittesu cheva ekadasasu patamajjana chittesu cheti pancha panyasa chittesu uppajjati. What it says here is that among the Pakinnaka Chetasika, initial application, that is vitakka, arises in 55 chittas. So what it says here is that it arises in 55 types of consciousness, that is all types of Kamavachara consciousness, excluding the twice fivefold sense consciousness. Twice fivefold sense consciousness. What does it mean by twice fivefold sense consciousness? And excluding twice fivefold sense consciousness, also in the 11 types of first jhana consciousness, it appears in the jhana consciousness also. So there are 54 Kamavachara chitta. For that, you need to look at the list of Kamavachara, list of chittas. Until here is Kamavachara chitta. So there are altogether 54, but this appears in 44. Dvipancha Vijnana. In these 10 chittas, it doesn't appear. Now, Dvipancha Chitta here refers to this 5 and this 5. Eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, and body consciousness. So this is the result of unwholesome karma. So this belongs to unwholesome vipaka karma. And then this is wholesome vipaka karma. Again, ear consciousness, eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, and body consciousness. So when it says Vipancha Vijnana Vajjita, it is referring to excluding the twice fivefold sense consciousness. And as you all know, in the jhanas, vitaka is present, right? Then how do you have 11 chittas, 11 types of first jhana consciousness? Can anyone tell? How do you have 11, jhanas where vitaka is present?
From sense sphere, no. From the 4, what was it? Lokodra, Chitta, and 7 from material sphere and immaterial sphere. The first of them.
Yeah, right. So in the Rupavachara first jhana, in terms of kusala, vipaka, and kiriya, in the first jhana, vitaka is present in these 3 chittas, right? And then in the category of paramatta chittas, that is, magga chitta and phala chitta. So there are 4 magga chitta and 4 phala chitta. In the first, chitta with the first jhana, magga chitta with the first jhana, there are 4, because there could be, Sotapatti magga chitta having first jhana, similarly Sakatagami, Anagami, and Arhat. In the same way, 4 phala chittas with first jhana. 4 plus 4, 8, and then plus 3, 11. So these are the 11 chittas. So this chart especially makes it very clear. Otherwise, in the text, you have this one. So here, when you look at this chart, initial application, we are talking about initial application here, vitaka. It provides numbers of chittas. So if you want to understand what are these number, what this number actually represent, you need to look at the entire chart again, right? So you have these numbers 1 to 12, 18, 19, 25 to 54. So these are the 1 to 12, and then 18, 19, these 2, and then 25 to 54. Numbering is also different here. Here, 54. 82, 87. So these are here, 82. 7 is here. It's written. Yes, so this way you can look at the list. Vichara panatesu cheva ekadasasu dutiya jhana chittesu chati chasatti chittesu. So this vitaka appears in 55 chittas. Vichara appears in 66 chittas. In all these 55 plus in the second jhana chittas, right? So you have 11 more. Therefore, you have 66. Again, you can look at the chart and then you can find that the vichara is present in the first two jhanas. Similarly, in the Lokottara Chittas, the category of Magga, and also in the category of Phala, the first two jhanas. Therefore, the number is increased. Next is Adimukha. Adimukha Dvi Pancha Vinyana Vichikicha Sahagata Vajjita Chittesu. Decision arises in all types of consciousness, excluding the twice fivefold sense consciousness and consciousness accompanied by doubt. Right. So in 78 chittas, you have Adimukha. Except in these 11 chittas, you already know about this twice fivefold sense consciousness. Consciousness associated with five senses, one set belonging to Akusala, the other set belonging to Kusala. And this particular Chitta, consciousness accompanied by doubt. This is Mohamula Chitta. So in the Mohamula Chitta, you have two Chittas, right? Delusion rooted with equanimity with doubt. Delusion rooted with equanimity with restlessness. One is associated with Uddacha, one is associated with doubt. So here it is referring to this Chitta number 11. So Adimukha is not present there as well. So therefore you have 78 Chittas having Adimukha. Viriyang Panchadwara Vajjana Dvi Pancha Vinyana Samparichana Santirana Vajita Chittesu. In how many Chittas effort is present? In 73 Chittas. Effort arises in all types of consciousness, excluding the sense door, directing consciousness, twice fivefold sense consciousness, receiving consciousness, and investigating consciousness. Panchadwara Vajjana consciousness. Yeah, so in this consciousness, it is not present. Unwholesome resultant with equanimity, receiving consciousness, and this investigating consciousness. Similarly, in these three, wholesome resultant with equanimity, receiving consciousness, wholesome resultant with mental pleasure, investigating consciousness, wholesome resultant with equanimity, investigating consciousness. And in this one, functional with equanimity, 5-door adverting. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus this 5 and this 5, 10. So 16. These 16 types of consciousness, it is not present. Okay. So 89 minus 16, you have 73. Virya is present in 73 consciousness. Piti domanasu bekka sahagata kaya vinyana chatutta jhana vajjita chittesu. Yeah, so joy arises in all types of consciousness, excluding those accompanied by displeasure and indifference. Body consciousness and the fourth jhana consciousness. Displeasure refers to domanassa. Domanassa and piti do not go together, right? So joy cannot be present in domanassa, and says that it is also not present in equanimity, upekka. So those chittas with domanassa and those chittas with upekka do not have piti. Piti is also not present in the fourth jhana consciousness, because in the fourth jhana consciousness you have sukha, right? Vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha. So piti is present up to third jhana consciousness in all different sections. What is this body consciousness? Body consciousness is yeah. So I think body consciousness here refers to this unwholesome resultant in physical pain, body consciousness. And probably it is also referring to this. Yeah. Wholesome resultant with physical pleasure, body consciousness. Okay, so these are the body consciousness where it is not present. This piti is not present. Therefore, you have, piti being present in 51 chittas. Chando ahetoka momoha vajjita chittesu. Chanda. Chanda arises in 69 types of consciousness out of 89. In 20 consciousness, it is not present. In the ahetukas, rootless consciousness, it is not present. And the two modes of consciousness accompanied by delusion, that is belong to akusala chitta, mohamula 2 chittas, they are not present. So how many ahetuka chittas are there? 18 plus this 2. So this is the discussion with regard to these 2 types of cetasika, sabba chitta sadharana and pakinnaka. But this is just a summary. Now here you have in a different presentation, it says that Tepana chittupada yatakamang chasati Panchapanyasa, Ekadasa cha Solasa, Sattati Visati Cheva, Pakinnaka Vivajita. So this is Pakinnaka Vivajita. Without the particulars or without ethically variables. Panchapanyasa, Chasati, Tasattati, Tisattati, Ekapanyasa, Ekuna Sattati, Sa Pakinnaka. This is with Pakinnaka. So two listings are given here. Those types of consciousness in order are 66, 55, 11, 16, 70, and 20 without the particulars. 55, 66, 78, 73, 51, 69 are with the particulars. Here you have the listing according to the second, categorization, second listing. 55, and then 66, 78, 73, 51, and 69. So without the particulars means out of 121, when you minus 55, there are 66 chittas. So it is referring to that. Similarly, if you minus 66 chittas from 121, it is 55. And then 11, because if you minus 78 chittas from 89, you have 11 chittas. Then if you minus 73 from 89, you have 16 chittas. And if you minus 51 from 121 chitta, you have 70 chittas. And if you minus 69 from 89 chittas, you have 20 chittas. So this is how you have these two listing. Okay, so similarly, if you look at the Chaitasikas belonging to this category, Akusala Chaitasikas, it is very simple to actually understand this because all these Akusalas appear only in the Akusala Chaitasikas. So you have Lobha, Dosa, Ditti, Mana, Dosa, Thina Middha, Vichikicha. So these are the Akusala Chaitasikas, and you would find that they appear only Chittas, Akusala Chittas. So there are 12 altogether up to here, right? So they do not arise. In all these Chittas, they do not arise. So this Akusala universal, there are 4 that arise in all these Akusala Chittas. Lobha arises in these 8 Chittas. It is not present in the following 4 Chittas. And then Ditti. So here you find Dittigata Sampayita Chittas to Akusala category, right? And where there is no Ditti, Dittigata Vipayita Chittas, it is not present. Mana is present in these 4 Chittas. And you have Dosa, Issa, Macharya, Kukucha. these two dosamala chittas. Thina and Middha, the 5 chittas, and Vichikicha in 1 chitta. So akusala chetasika only arise in akusala chittas in different numbers. Now let's look at the sobana chetasika. So sobane sopana sobana sadharana tava ekuna visati me chetasika sabbe supi ekuna satte sobana chittesu sangvijjanti. Of the beautiful, at first, the 19 mental states common to the beautiful are found in all the 59 types of beautiful consciousness. So these 19 sobana chittas, sobana sadharana chitta, they appear in 59 types of beautiful consciousness. So we have this sobana chitta starting from here, Kamavachara kusala, means it is present in all the chittas, 59, right? Viratiyopana tissopi lokuttara chittesu sabbatapi niyata ekatova labanti lokyesupana kamavachara kusale sueva kadachi sandhisanti visum visum. The 3 abstinences are definitely obtained all at once in all places in the supramundane types of consciousness, but in the mundane sense sphere moral types of consciousness, they are at times present severally. So sometimes they are present, sometimes they are absent in the chittas belonging to sense sphere moral category, mundane sense sphere moral category. Kamavachara kusala chitta. But in the case of supramundane consciousness, they are present. This is the chitta here, 3 virati. These 4 chittas, it is present, and then the remaining ones, it is not present, but the chittas belonging to Lokottara is always present. Appamanyayopana dwadasaso panchamajjhana vajjita mahagata chittesu cheva kamavachara kusalesu cha sahetuka kamavachara kiriya chittesu chati attavesati chittesveva kadachi nana hutva jayanti upekha sahagatesu panetta karuna mudita na santi tikechi vadanti. The illimitables, that is appamaya chittas, appamaya mental factors, arise at times differently in twice 8 types of consciousness, namely the 12 sublime types of consciousness, excluding the 5th jhana. The 8 moral types of 8 sahetuka functional types of sense sphere consciousness. Some, however, say that compassion and appreciative joy are not present in the types of consciousness accompanied by upekha. So this seems to be a different opinion. But yeah, so in the 5th jhana, definitely karuna and mudita are not present because there is just upekha. But it also says that chittas accompanied by upekha, compassion and appreciative joy, karuna and mudita are not present. So according to some, okay. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not sure. Now, I think probably it should be understood in terms of primacy, which is really effectively functioning, because these are all good mental qualities, mental factors: karuna, mudita, upekha. Now, even when the karuna and mudita are present in a chitta, there can be some form of upekha or not. I'm not sure. So it says that there can be upekha as well. But according to some, when there is upekha, probably upekha is so strong, then karuna and appreciative choice should not be there. So that is the understanding.
Absolute teacher.
Yeah.
When we say like Brahma Vihara, we have these 4 qualities, yeah?
Yes. So
So does it mean one of them, only one is present in one moment of mind, or do they all together present in a moment of mind when we say Brahma Vihara?
in the Brahma Viharas, of course, I think probably, all the 4 Brahma Viharas are not present at the same time. I think even if they are present also, there could be different degrees of their presence. Even when you talk about this, all these mental factors being present in each different chittas in different numbers, 55 mental factors, 66 mental factors, they are all present, but there's a particular 1, 2, or a few of the mental factors that are very strong, that define the chitta. You see? So vitaka is present, for example, in this, all of these akusala chittas. It is also present in the kusala chittas, right? Now, when it is present in the akusala chitta, if it is associated with greed, lobha, or dosa, or moha, how does it function? How does it manifest? So you can have metta, karuna, mudita, upekka, which is very strong, which is the dominating mental states.
So the difference will be only the intensity, yeah?
In terms of severity, well, these are wholesome chittas, right? Wholesome mental factors, right?
Yeah.
But particularly the discussion arises because upekka represent, you go beyond all this dualistic thinking, right? Upekka refers to equanimity. So therefore the discussion is, when upekka is present, can there be karuna and mudita? That is why I think this differences of opinion here. But probably when we look at the detailed discussion with regard to this apamanyas and also upekka in the text, with the Mata Sangha, we may find some clearer explanation. And this is the last one. Panyapana dwadasa so yana sampayuttaka yana sampayutta kamavachara chittesu cheva sabbesu pi panchatimsa mahagata lokuttara chittesu chati sattachattalisa chittesu sampayogam gacchati. Wisdom goes into combination with 47 types of consciousness, namely the 12 kinds of sense sphere consciousness accompanied by wisdom. Those chittas accompanied by wisdom, they are called yana sampayutta chitta. In all these 12 kinds of kamavachara, yana sampayutta chittas, it is present. All the 35 sublime and supramundane consciousness. Lokuttara chitta and sublime chitta here refers to the higher types of chitta belonging to, rupa and arupa vachara chittas. So this is one way of looking at the combinations. Now here you have a different presentation of these combinations. This is Chaitasika Rasi. Any questions so far? You have different classification in the Chaitasika Rasi. Any question with regard to the discussion or your presentation or essay? Today we are supposed to have a presentation as well, but probably we are going to have it later, not today, because I'd like to cover these topics of discussion before we come to the end of semester. If we can finish the discussion of Chaitasika today, next week probably we can focus on the discussion of cognitive process. That is also a very important topic of discussion. See?
Hello, teacher.
Yeah. So as I was saying, that when you look at this, this description, try to have the chart with you so that you can easily refer to the charts and you have better understanding. Yes, someone is saying something.
Yes, teacher. I would
Yes.
like to raise a question. In our environment, we had positive thinking and negative thinking. So, both of them, which of them were included to the Chitta or Chitta? Positive thinking and negative thinking.
You have only actually Chaitasikas. The Chitta is just one, and you can say that the Chitta is actually colorless. It is like, we can have this example of pure distilled water. So you put any color, it will take the color of that, right? So Chitta is just one. It becomes different when it is accompanied by different types of Chaitasikas. Otherwise, how do you, for example, distinguish between your Chitta with anger and without anger? When you say I am angry, right? So
Yes.
this anger, this feeling of anger, what is it? Is it different from your Chitta, or is it in the Chitta, or is it a separate factor influencing the Chitta? Now, of course, we have to understand this in terms of cognitive process and also in terms of momentary dhammas. We have discussed about Dhamma in the discussion of Dhamma theory. We will come to the discussion of cognitive process later on. Okay, let me show you this one chart. I think it will be clearer. At this chart here. Look at this thing here. A mental unit, a mental molecule. Okay. Now, this is representative of one mind moment. So you have this 7 plus 6. 13 Anyasavana Chittas, ethically variable Chaitasikas, not Chittas, that arise together, with the Chitta in a mind moment, plus, because you are talking about, good and bad situation, wholesome and unwholesome situation. So there could be unwholesome mental states present if it is unwholesome Chitta, or if there are other beautiful mental states are present, beautiful mental factors are present, it could be a representative of wholesome or beautiful Chitta. Okay, now how does it function? These two sides, you do not take both these together, just take one side, right? So when your sense organ, your indriya, come in contact with object, these are the mental factors in different numbers arise together, and these form a mental unit, a mental molecule, one mind moment. This Chitta, without the Chaitasika, cannot arise and function. And these Chaitasikas cannot arise and function without Chitta. In other words, you can say that these Chaitasikas are the Chitta, and the Chitta represent the Chaitasikas. You can just mentally analyze only. There is no way that you can separate Chitta from Chaitasika, strictly speaking.
Teacher.
Yeah.
Hello, teacher.
Yes.
Now we are supposed to go to the hospital for checking the coronavirus.
Really? Now?
Yeah, I think they did not inform the teacher, I think.
Yes, I did not get any message. I thought that the other group is going, and they went early morning, I think, right?
Yeah, but now Pandit Saksi is coming and asking us to be ready.
So only you are going, or do I also have to join? I'm not sure.
If can join, I think it's okay. But some might not have internet, I think.
Okay. So anyway, I think this is almost time for a break. So I think probably we can end our first session here and have a break for 10-15 minutes. After that, we will continue. Okay. And also let me, know if how is the arrangement of going to test for the virus here. So if I also need to join, then
seems
probably
like all the BA students will have to go, I think. Because
anyway,
all the BA students 3 days ago, we had a class with the Nandi, the one who.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yesterday. To test. Yeah. But actually, I think not enough, even the BA, because BA and MA student, they are staying together, playing together.
Anyway, okay, let's see how it goes. So we end our first session here. Okay, so
I also had a question, but now we have to leave
later. Okay.
But will you discuss later on time and space little bit?
Yes. If we have enough time, we'll come to that.
Okay, Bante, thank you so much.
Okay, let's have a break now, and we will meet after the break.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let us resume the class now. So we have been looking at this combination of Chaitasikas with the Chitta. Now here we are going to look at a different combination. So this is Chaitasika Rasi Sangaho. Let us read it together. Issa Macharaka Kukucha Virati Karunadayo Nana Kadachi Manocha Tina Middang Tatasaha Yata Vuttanusarena Sesa Niyata Yogino Sangahancha Pavakame Tesang Dani Yataraham. So what it says here is that jealousy, avarice, worry, abstinences, compassion, appreciative joy, and conceit arise separately and occasionally. So are sloth and torpor in combination. The remaining factors, apart from those mentioned above, are fixed adjuncts. Now I shall speak of their combination accordingly. So there are basically 5 different ways these combinations are presented. Chattimsa, Panchatimsa cha, Chatuttimsa, Yatakhamam, Tettimsa, Dvaya Micheva, Panchadanuttare, Thita. 36 factors arise in the supramundane, 35 in the sublime, 38 in the Kamavachara, beautiful, 27 in the demeritorious, 12 in the rootless. According to the way they arise, their combination therein is 5-fold. So this is how this is categorized, in terms of supramundane, sublime, beautiful, demeritorious, and rootless. So this is the presentation in detail. So first of all, the presentation is made in regard to Lokuttara Chitta. So Lokuttara Chitta Sangaho. Lokuttara means supramundane Chittas. In the chart, it's referring to this, 8 types of Chittas, basically 4 Magga Chittas and 4 Phala Chittas. Okay, so the discussion is focused here. Lokuttaresu Tava Attasu Patama Jhanika Chittesu Anya Samana Terasa Chetasika Appamaya Vajjita Tevisati Sobana Chetasika Cheti Chattingsa Dhamma Sangahan Gachanti. At first, in the 8 types of supramundane, first jhana types of consciousness, 36 factors enter into combination, namely 13 anyasamanas and 23 beautiful mental factors, excluding the 2 illimitables. So altogether 13 plus 23 equal to 36. Now let us look at this here. So here the discussion is on the first jhana chitta, right? Yeah, supramundane first jhana chitta out of 8 types of chitta. So far we have been looking at the combination in terms of how many of the Chaitasika belong to a particular type is present in how many chittas. So when discussing about 7 universals being present in chittas, it says that these 7 universals are present in all 89 types of chittas, right? And then when we are talking about the presence of vitakka in the chittas, we come to know that in a certain chittas it is not present. Okay, so among the chittas in which this mental factor is present is numbered as 55. So in the 55 chittas, this vitakka is present. Now here the presentation is that in one particular chitta, how many chaitasikas are present? Okay, so in this Chitta, first Jhana Chitta, it says that 36 mental factors are present. Okay, so you can see here that 7 universals are present. So this represents 7 universals. You can actually count, and then Vitakka, so became 8. Then Vichara, 9. Then Adimukha, 10. Then Piti and Chanda. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 Chaitasikas belong to, Ayasamana, universals, and Pakinyaka together are present. And in this section, these belong to Sobana Chaitasika. How many Sobana Chaitasikas are present here?
19.
19. So 19 universals, Sobana Chaitasika. And after that, you have
3.
3 Virati. These are Virati, right? 3 Virati. So 19 plus 3, 22. And Panya. This is wisdom. So 23. So together you have 36 mental factors present in this particular type of Chitta, first Jhana Chitta. Similarly, if you look at the description, you actually can look at this chart and find out. In the second Jhana Chitta, again you have 7 universals, but Vitakka is not present here. You have just Vichara, and then Adimukha, and then Viriya, Piti, and Chanda. And then similar to the other Sobana Chaitasikas, you have all of these present. 19 universal Sobana Chaitasika, 3 Virati, and Panya. So just one is absent, compared to the previous list. Vichara is absent. Vitakka is absent. And when you move to the third jhana, Vitakka, Vichara, both are absent. Therefore, you have 34. And in the case of the following jhana, not just Vitakka and Vichara, but Piti is also absent, right? Therefore, you have 33. And similarly, in the fifth jhana, Vitakka, Vichara, Piti are absent. So in the last 2 jhanas, fourth and fifth jhana, the number of mental factors present are 33. And now if you look at the Phalachittas, so you have in the first jhana, Phalachitta, you have 7 universals, Vitakka, Vichara, Adimukha, Viriya, Piti, Chanda, and then 19 Sobana universals, 3 Virati, and Panya, so 36 in number. So similar to the previous section, because Vitakka is absent, 35. Vitakka, Vichara are absent, 34. Vitakka, Vichara, and Piti absent, so 33 and 33. So this is one presentation of the combination of Chitta and Chaitasika. Now, Kamavachara, Sobana, Chitta, Sangahana. So what you have here is Kamavachara Subanesu Pana Kusalesu Tava Patama Dwaye Anya Samana Terasa Chetasika Panchavisati Sobana Chetasika Cheti Attatimsa Dhamma Sangaham Gachanti Appamanya Viratiyo Panetta Panchapi Pachekameva Yojatabba. At first, in the first two types of senses, we have beautiful consciousness. 38 states go into combination, namely 13 miscellaneous and 25 beautiful mental states. That makes it 38. The 2 illimitables and 30 abstinences should be fitted in severely. So in different other chittas, these also appear. So this is referring to Kamavachara Kusala Chitta. Right, so let's look at the Kamavachara Kusala Chitta. Kamavachara Kusala Chitta. So there are 2 chittas here. So again, you have 7 universal consciousness: Vitakka, Vichara, Adimukha, Viriya, Piti, Chanda. And then from this section, you have 19 Sobana, universal chitta, Chatasikas, 3 Viratis, 2 Apamayas, and Panya. Altogether, 38. In the third and fourth chittas belonging to this category, Kamavachara Kusala, you have all these Chatasikas present, but Panya is not present. Probably it belongs to Diktigata Vipayutta. Therefore, Panya is not present. So you have 37. In the next 2 types of chittas, Piti is not present. So therefore you have 37 again. And in the next 2 types, Piti and Panya both are not present. So it becomes 36. So these are Kusala Chitta, and then you have Vipaka Chitta similarly. In the Vipaka Chitta, from this section here, Virati and Apapanyas are absent in most cases. Some cases Panya is absent. In some cases Piti is absent. Then we have Kiriya Chittas. And then in the category of Akusala Chitta, Akusalesu Pana Lobamulesu Tava Patami Asankarika Anya Samana Terasa Chetasika Akusala Dharana Chattaro Chahati Sattarasas Loba Dittihi Sadding Ekuna Visati Dhamma Sangaho Gachanti. So now here it presents the combination of Chittas and Chatasikas in the Akusala category. So there are 12 Akusala Chittas. Let's look at them. In the first one, Lobamula Chitta, you have 19 Chatasikas present. You can see it very clearly here. 7 universals, Vitakka, Vichara, Adimukha, Viriya, Piti, Chanda, and then 4 Akusala universals, Loba, Ditti. So all these are present, 19 altogether. The second one, all these plus Tina and Mitta, therefore 21. The next one, you have Mana, Ditti is absent, Mana is present, and a total number of 19 Chatasikas. Similarly, 18, 20, 18, 20 again. Then 20 in the dosamula, first type of chitta, 22. The second type, 15. Mohamula chitta, the number of chatasikas present are 15. Yes. And this is the last type of combination, ahetuka chitta sangha. Ahetuke supana hasana chitte tava chandavajjita ayasamana dwadasa dhamma sangha hangachanti. With respect to rootless in the consciousness of aesthetic pleasure, begin with 12 unmoral mental states excluding connection enter into combinations altogether. 12 here. This is referring to Hasitupada Chitta. This one, Hasitupada Chitta. 12 mental factors are present. Next, Tata Vuttabane Chanda Piti Vajjita. Likewise, they occur in the determining consciousness excluding connection and joy. 11. So you have Santirana Chitta and Manodwara Vajjana Chitta. In both cases, the number of chatasikas arise are 11. This is Santirana Chitta. So Manasasagata Santirana Chitta. And this is Manodwara Vajjana. Manodhatutika hetuka patisandhi yugale chanda piti viriya vajjita. In the manodhatu triplet and in the pair of rootless relinking types of consciousness, all except connection, joy, and effort. So 10 in number. Now there are 3 types of chittas where you have 10 mental factors arising. One is Panchadwara Vajjana, the other is Upekasagata Santirana Chitta, the other is Sampatichana Chitta. This is Sampatichana Chitta. There are 2 chittas having 10 mental factors. Upekka Santirana, Sampatichana and Upekka Santirana. The other one is Panchadwara Vajjana. Dvi Pancha Vinyana Pakinnaka Vajjita Teyeva Sangaihatiti. In the 2 types of 5 full sense consciousness, all enter into combination except the particulars. Dvi Pancha Vinyana, we have discussed about this earlier. This consciousness associated with sense faculties, eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body. In this 5 kusala and 5 akusala, 10 types of consciousness. 7 mental factors are present only. And this 7 refers to the 7 universals. So particulars, pakinakas, are not present. Okay, so finally it says that Sabbatapi attarasasu ahetukesu gananavasena chatudha sangha hoteti. Thus, in all the 18 types of rootless consciousness, the mental states numerically constitute 4 groups. Dwadase kadasa dasa sattachati chatubbido attarasa sahetukesu chetupadesu sangha. 12, 11, 10, 7. These are the number. In some cases 12 mental factors, in some cases 11, in some cases 10, in some cases 7. Thus they are grouping with respect to the 18 rootless types of consciousness is fourfold. Ahetukesu sabbata satta sesa yataraham iti vittarato vuttu tetimsa vidasanga. In all the rootless, the 7 universals occur, the rest particulars arise accordingly. Thus, in detail, the groupings are told in 33 ways. Ittang chitta vyuttanam sampayogancha sangaham nyatva bhedang yatha yogam chittena samamuddise. Understanding thus the combinations and synthesis of the mental adjuncts, let one explain their union with the consciousness accordingly. So this is the end of chapter 2. Okay, so today we discussed the general characteristics of Cetasika, and then we came to know the names of 52 mental factors in different categories, and there are 2 ways of combination with the Chittas. Okay, so very quickly we became just familiar with this. You can look at the text yourself, and have the chart with you, and then go through the description again to understand the combinations from this chart. Okay, so I think that would be very good. So now what is remaining is to look at the details on these 52 types of Cetasikas. So as I said, we are not going to look at all these 52 types of Cetasikas, all the descriptions of these Cetasikas, maybe a few of them, and the remaining ones, whenever you have time, you can just, go through these sections from this text. Abhidhamma Sangha. Any questions so far?
Teacher, in the Sangha combination method, I think that you only explained 4 and you left out Rupavachara and Arupavachara just now.
Yeah, Rupavachara and Arupavachara.
Yes, I think you skipped through that part for Sangha combination. Because you went from Lokottara to Kamavachara and then Aguso, and then you jumped right back to Chitta. So I think you skipped that part. Yeah.
Yes. When after discussing about supramundane chittas, paramatta chittas, we came to discuss about the combination of beautiful chittas, sense sphere beautiful chittas in the same category. You have the discussion of jhana chittas, right? Oh no. So chittas, and then you are talking about this Rupavachara and Arupavachara chittas,
Yes,
right?
yes, teacher. I think you skipped that part.
I see. Not find it here. I see. So this is in the category of sublime states. So, okay. Uttara, there is supramundane chittas, and then Mahagata chitta. So in the section of Mahagata, you have sublime states, and then you have Kamavachara Sobhana chitta. I think somehow wrongly. So this comes under this section Mahagata chitta. Mahagata chitta, 35. Three types of sublime. First, jhana consciousness, 35 factors go into combination, namely 13 ayasamana mental factors and 22 beautiful mental factors, excluding the 3 abstinences. This is first jhana, so all this is present here. These 3 abstinences are not present, so you have 35. And in terms of these jhana factors being absent, out of 5, the first one is absent in the second one, that is vitaka, and then you do not have vichara in the following ones, vitaka and vichara, and also piti. So from here, some cases abstinences are not present, viratio, and in some cases apamayas are not present. So yeah, we have different numbers. In the case of arupa jhanas, vitaka vichara, of course, not present. Piti is also not present, because you have just upekha and ekagata. So there is no discussion of sukha here. And virati and apamayas are not present. So therefore we have that. Yes. So I think I mixed up with Mahagata chitta and probably Kamavachara Sobhana chitta. Maybe I have skipped this one. So altogether you have 5 sections here. One is the section of Mahagata chitta, supramundane chitta, Lokottara chitta. This is the first section, 4 Magga and 4 Pala, and then you have Mahagata chitta, Rupavachara and Arupavachara jhana chittas, and then you have this sense sphere beautiful chittas, Kamavachara beautiful chittas. Yeah, so Kamavachara Kusala Vipaka Kiriya all come under this category. After that, you have rootless chittas. All these are rootless chittas, category of Ahituka chitta. And this first section is unwholesome chittas rooted in greed, hatred, and ignorance, delusion. So 5 combinations, 5-fold combinations. And in the previous one, in how many ways, I mean, in how many categories you have seen these combinations? I think probably in these 3 categories basically, but if you divide these universals and pakinaka into 2, so you have 4, categories, right?
Yes, teacher, yes. 3
Yeah.
or 4.
3 or 4, and here you have 5. Yes, it's true. Yeah, so any other question or remark?
Teacher, what would you say would be the perfect wording for Dhamma Yoga method and Sangha method? Just combination or any other word that would be more specific for each of these methods?
Sangha One is called Sangha. No, Sangha is translated as association, right? So you have Sampayoga. Sampayoga. And the other word is used Sangaha. One is Sangaha, the other is Sampayoga. What are the words used in Bhikkhu Buddhist text? Sampayoga and Sangaha. Sangaha refers to group, right? Grouping. Sampayoga is regarded as association. What are the words do you suggest? You have any specific terms?
No, teacher, I don't have one. I just want to know how, what would be the better words, because association and combination or grouping, they don't. I don't think they quite translate the actual meaning of these two words.
Mm. Sangaha and Sampayoga. So you have to check how other people have been, translating these terms. Sangaha is normally refers to collection or compilation, grouping or accumulation. And Sampayoga as union or association, connection. Do you see any kind of differences between these two approaches?
Just in a simple way, one is based on the Chittadikas and one is based on the Chittas. But I don't know what else would be there.
Yeah, I think combination is the general term used to refer to this both approaches. Yeah, I'm not sure. I have not really thought about it, seriously. Probably I'll look at some other text and see how they are explaining these two terms. Then probably we can discuss.
Thank you, teacher.
Yes. Okay, so I think we can probably look at one or two, this description of this, mental factors from Abhidhamma Sangaha itself, and then you will have some understanding. Later on, you can look at these descriptions yourself. Of course, in different Abhidhamma text, you have, detailed expositions with regard to all these mental factors. Now here, for example, from this book, if you look at this book, Abhidhamma Sangaha, Bhikkhu Bodhi, the first mental factor that is described here is contact. Phassa, right? That is the first one, first of the 7 universal mental factors. Now, if you look at this description here, it says the word phassa is derived from the verb pusati, meaning to touch. But contact should not be understood as the mere physical impact of the object on the bodily faculty. It is rather the mental factor by which consciousness mentally touches the object that has appeared, thereby initiating the entire cognitive event. In terms of the fourfold defining device used in the Pali commentaries, contact has the characteristic of touching. Its function is impingement, as it causes consciousness and the object to impinge. Its manifestation is the occurrence of consciousness, sense faculty, and object. Its proximate cause is an objective field that has come into focus. See, so you'd see that most of these mental factors are described in terms of this fourfold defining device: characteristic, function, manifestation, and proximate cause. Okay, so you can look at these descriptions, and if you are really interested